These are the very best car collections in the entire world, and today we're breaking them down. So stick around for the reveal of which I think is at the top of them all. Over the last 15 years making videos, I've been very lucky to travel the world and lay eyes on garages and museums that represent a lifetime of work, passion and collecting. From the latest and greatest hypercars to following very specific themes and showing them to the world either online or in person. Hi guys, I'm Shmi, hello and welcome back to the channel. These are the world's best car collections. We're going to be taking a look at literally billions of dollars worth of the best cars out there. I'm going to break this into a few different categories, starting with the hypercars, the likes of the Bugattis, Koenigsegg's and Pagani's. Then we have the themed collections, which follow the specific personality of the collection's owner. We also have the museums that have gone from being private collections into a venue that you can visit as well. Plus, we have the all-out epic best of the best coming up. Do comment as we go which is your favourite from each of these collections. But having been lucky to visit so many around the world, from North America, all throughout Europe, to the Middle East, the Far East, you name it, we have a ton to take in today. And I hope you're going to agree with my choices as we get a little bit further on. But don't go anywhere, you don't want to miss any one of these amazing collections from around the world. To get things started, this is the private garage of my friend Pet Fred in Miami, Florida. Not only does he have some amazing cars, but over the last few years has built this dream man cave. It's got all of the lights, the screens, there's the upstairs to take a look down at the cars. And talking of them, the flagship models in the Marlboro livery, that famous Formula One inspired racing livery. We have the likes of the Ferrari F40 and the McLaren Senna GTR. Plus he's acquired a P1 GTR and plenty more coming in the future. But not only that, there are also the stealth supercars, finished in satin black with yellow headlights, the Lamborghinis, the Black Series models and plenty more. But better still, Fred actually takes these cars frequently to different events, on rallies and travelling all over with them. We're going to head much further to the east for our next one though, Adil's garage in Kuwait. Not only are the colours amazing in this secret underground lair under the lights with the mirrors, but Adil is one of the few owners of all of the Barchetta hypercars. We're talking the Ferrari Monza, the McLaren Elva, the Aston Martin V12 Speedster, and the Mercedes SLR McLaren Sterling Moss, which we actually took out for a sunset drive in Kuwait together the first time that I had ever driven one. That's not all though. There are even more in the collection, including the Ford GT and the Koenigsegg Agera in some amazing colours. We're going to go even further east now though, to Mr. Miura's collection in Tokyo, Japan. A collection you might have seen a few times. I visited back in 2018 and I love the view from the office area upstairs looking down over the cars below. All of the legendary Ferrari hypercars, multiples of them in amazing colours. The likes of the yellow Ferrari F40, a silver Ferrari Enzo, the F50s, plus a Lamborghini Raventon, a Lamborghini Miura, and even a Lamborghini Formula One car as well, of which there are only a handful in the entire world, plus an extra second storage to show even more of the cars in the collection. We're going to jump to a friend and a familiar face, Manny Koshpin in California. Now Manny's just taken delivery of his Bugatti Bolide, but he also has this new setup, this new garage where he showcases his legendary and epic hypercars, all in amazing specs, the one-of-one Hermes creations, and his love for the SLRs with quite a few different models, including the HDK that we took for a run out together as well. We're going to go back to the Middle East now. The Space DXB. When the Space popped up a few years ago, the world couldn't believe this amazing collection. We're talking multiple Bugatti Divos. We're talking many of the latest hypercars to be introduced, all presented in one space quite literally that feasts your eyes, that is jaw-droppingly stunning to behold all of the different cars, the colours, but not only that, it's also a collection that features a location with a whole venue set up for sports, for other opportunities, for other events as well. We're going to go to some other friends of mine, the Triple F collection. I'm sure you know Jason, Jordan, Dave and the team very well. They love their cars, they love hosting events, they love getting everybody involved in what it's all about, sharing the spirit of these things with a collection that features all of the different McLaren hypercars, the Speedtail for example, the P1 in blue carbon, you name it, plus some more, the likes of the Paganis, the LaFerrari, and enjoying these cars, driving them, making videos, sharing them as well with the world through their channel. Another collection in Connecticut, the Show Stables. Now this has moved slightly since I went to visit. It was quite a few years ago now, but I remember being blown away by the Aston Martin Vulcan and the matching V12 Vantage S with the same livery, but it also featured the Holy Trinity at a time when that was so exciting, the LaFerrari, the P1 and the 918. But not only those, plenty of other cars tucked away and I think pretty much unseen prior to that point, so a special opportunity to be able to go and take a look. We're going to go to a big hypercar collection now that has evolved significantly since the time I was there. Don Huayra in Mexico City. Now, like many other garages in this list, cars have come and gone since I was there. Some have grown, some have shrunk a little bit. And this is an example of a collection that has been expanding at an unbelievable rate. But it's not only the hypercars with the glass windows looking out over the valley, it's the mixture of different cars, the classics, the American muscle, so much more in this garage of cars that are frequently driven, often with the latest being delivered and getting it out there as one of the very first, and a really special opportunity to be able to take a walk around. We're going to pop back across the sea, back to Florida, into Miami, to Iconic, the garage of my friend Barry Skolnick, this display of amazing cars and artwork to go with it all. The cars presented against the white tiles with the bright lights, music in the venue, an amazing place to host events as well, and a collection that is really quite out there, from the likes of the Apollo IE to the Maserati MC12 Corsa to driving the Spikers we took out together as well, but also featuring the lineups of Ferraris and Porsches and plenty more. We're going to cross to the other side of the US though for the 10th of the hypercars list, Dan Amai in California. Over the years, I've filmed many times with Dan and his amazing particular collection of Paganis, driving the Zonda Cinques together. Also the Zonda Tricolore that features in his garage, the Koenigsegg Regera Honey that I featured as well, the Speedtail, plenty of the hypercars, again, often found at different events, heading out, being used, being driven, being enjoyed and being shared, sharing the passion for what these cars are about, as so many on this hypercar list all do. So that's 10. Which of those is your favourite before we go on from here? Collections come and sometimes collections go. A change of circumstance, a generational change, and as such, I've visited a few collections in the past that no longer exist in the format that I got to see them. One such example is the Lingenfelter collection in Michigan, in the north of the United States. When I was out in Detroit, Ken Lingenfelter showed me around his amazing garage that at the time featured some of their own products, of course, the Lingenfelter cars that they've made, and many different classics, but also a few hypercars, the likes of the LaFerrari, the Enzo, and a Lamborghini Rabinton. I believe maybe the LaFerrari still remains, but some of the others, including the Enzo and Rabinton, have now moved on to new homes around the world, along with many of the other cars from the collection. If we cross the border, we head into Canada and to the Dare to Dream collection. This is a private garage unlike any other that I first visited a long time ago when I was out in Toronto for the build process of my Ford GT, and I was lucky to visit, although that was strictly off camera until a few years later, shortly ahead of the sale through RM Sotheby's of the entire collection. It's not only the cars though, it's a collection of collections, the unbelievable assortment of sneakers and the history behind trainers from the brands like Nike. Then you have the model cars, the Ralph Lauren Amalgam collection, the books, the memorabilia, all of the other things that are on display in this stunning room where you pop some little booties over your shoes to make sure it's kept clean and tidy. Inside you find the Ferrari hypercars, some special liveries on the McLarens, and some classic Ferraris amongst so many others in a truly astonishing place. The third I want to mention, I recently visited the White Collection in Texas. This was in Houston, Texas, again shortly before the sale with RM Sotheby's of the entire collection of white Porsches, cars with incredibly high MSRPs, but covering just about every different generation from Porsche and some of the most special, most incredible models that they've made over the years completely. The white collection is not only the cars as well, but also the different bits of memorabilia, all of the stockpile of things that link to these cars and to their history. But amazing to see so many of these collections and to be able to mark that point in time before the cars have ventured on to new things. I always appreciate when a collection shows the passion of its owner, when there's a theme, when it's very clear what that person is really into. So our next category are of course the themed collections, and we're going to begin with one I know you are familiar with, Ferrari collector David Lee. David's unbelievable dual Big Five, both the red Ferrari hypercars and the yellow Ferrari hypercars. I think the only person in the world who has put all of that together. Now, of course, back at the time, the likes of the 288 and the F40 were only in red. The others are very, very rare as well, but what a sight it is to see all of those cars. But not only those, also the classic Ferraris, the new models as well. I filmed a number over the years with David, including recently his competency Oni Aperta, but to see them all and to know that he takes them to the events like Monterey Car Week is really, really cool. We're going to head though to Europe next, to Germany, and to the garage of 72 Stag Power. Now this was a special one because these are the cars of the Jägermeister racing team, the bright orange cars that I'm sure you've seen at classic racing, and the family that was originally behind it retaining a number of them in their own garage as well. These are all cars that raced, all cars that featured in period, and to be able to explore and uncover some of the stories and learn with Oliver was really special to take them in. The BMWs, the Porsches, the different race classes, because they competed and took part in so many different things. We're going to go to Dubai next, to the Mille Miglia collection. This is a kind of half shop, half collection, because you go in to visit where they sell some amazing dioramas, but have all of the cars around, with the Porsche room, for example, the 918, Carrera GT and other models, but also then the Ferrari collection featuring everything up to the LaFerrari with mannequins to make sure that you're doing what you should when you're there visiting Mille Miglia. I want to take us back to Florida, to the garage of Pablo, Squadralupo. Pablo is one of the most amazing people that I have ever filmed with. His passion and enthusiasm for his cars is unlike any other. We're talking a garage that on the one hand has a Zonda Revolution and a Huayra and a Carbon Series 4 GT, a liquid carbon even 4 GT. And on the other hand has some amazing rally cars, the RS200 and RS500, E30 M3, 190 Evo 2, a complete mixture of different cars, but very much focused on racing, on motorsport, on rally cars, and on using and driving them. Pablo takes them to different events and he features the cars and gets them out there. Another collector I visited recently, again on the Ferrari front, is Lewis from the Gentleman's Garage out in Texas. Very much the Ferrari theme, but focusing on interesting colours. F40 blue, for example, the Porsche Aqua Blue Ferrari F40. He also has a Giallo Modena Ferrari F50, LaFerrari, and building the collection out with even more acquisitions and purchases as well. For the next one, something that I found really special. When I was in the Netherlands, I went to Porsche Gelderland. It's a Porsche dealership where there is the most amazing private collection as well. A collection of Volkswagen Group cars, the Porsches, the Audis and the VWs, but one of everything that's special and significant. You know, one of a Polo Harlequin, one of an Audi A1 Quattro, one of an R8 GT, all of the different models, the different Audi RS models, everything in one space that, to be honest, is the kind of collection I could walk around just endlessly. All of the different Beetles, you name it, all there at Porsche Gelderland. Again, a Ferrari collection. There is definitely a thing with collecting Ferraris. We go to Garage 26 in Miami, Florida, and the almost museum-like presentation of the Ferrari models. The collection has expanded even more since I got to go and visit and take a look around. But really and truly, some of the best Ferrari cars, all in these amazing storage rooms up above the ground floor, taking a lift to get the cars up there, but to walk around and take a look at some of those, plus the Porsches as well. I shouldn't forget that there are some pretty amazing Porsches and roof models that feature at the Garage 26 collection as well. Now, one that I also visited about a year ago, didn't share on my channel at the time because it wasn't quite prepared, but is now public, is the collection of the Mulsdale Foundation in Glasgow, Scotland. This is a collection of over 400 cars, many different Fords, and many modern classics. It's a lineup of different special Ford models, recent Ferrari models, limited edition models, lots of fun individual cars, things that you and I would love to go and hop in and take out for a drive. But not only those, because there's also a Lamborghini Sian and a Pagani Utopia and some very nice hypercars that fit into the collection as well. And I love these collections because, as I say, they show what the owner is interested in. He's gone down that path, he or she has gone down that path, and that is what they've chosen to build the collection around. When talking about collections, there's always going to be a bias, right? Each of us has an individual preference. What we like maybe more than something else. And for me, that's often the modern supercars, the modern hypercars. But I particularly like getting to know the owner and understand what makes them tick, what's built this collection, what inspired it, where did it start, where did it begin? And we're yet to get to the most amazing of the amazing, so stay tuned for all of that. But obviously up to this point, we've had lots of hypercars, we've had lots of the themed collections, and there will be plenty more that I've not included, and I will touch on some of those as well. Maybe there'll be even more to feature on the channel in the future. Of course, the collections can be found on our platform exclusive car registry, where you can find out about these and plenty more. But I want to continue with some more that stand out really to me. While I might have called my garage the Schmuseum, it's not technically a museum, it's a private garage, but I would like to talk about the museums that you can go and visit, because there are some amazing places out there. Now, of course, each of the manufacturers, the OEMs, have their own setups, whether that's Ferrari or Lamborghini, or Alfa Romeo is a particularly good one. In Germany, you have Porsche, Mercedes, BMW. There are plenty of incredible places, but I want to talk more about the ones that perhaps you wouldn't have known.